I've now spent a good long while with the Invicta Wheelbase from Asetek. I'm not going to beat around the bush here, it's been excellent, that's to be expected for over £1,000, but it's met that assumption nicely. This is the most powerful unit Asetek makes, and it provides a straightforward service to anyone who buys one. The main draw being a skyscraping power limit of 27 Newton meters that guarantees you'll have enough force to max out your needs for any wheel or driving type that you're going to use it for. But you also get an active LED system, which can be useful, even if I wish it was a bit more elegant, an integrated USB-C hub at the back, which can simplify cable routing to your rig, and a cool name. This costs the kind of money whereby you wouldn't just jump in. Allow me to take you through it. Now remember, as always, watch the entire video through before you make any decisions, but you should be informed that Asetek has provided the equipment featured in this review free of charge in order to make this video possible. Thanks to them for their support in this regard, and it should be obvious as you watch it, but they have no control over the content of this review and they don't get to see it before you do. So it's completely all my own words, opinions and viewpoints. As with all of my hardware reviews, you'll find links to buy the equipment featured in the description down below. You'll find some discount codes there too, including for Asetek's own official stores. Buying stuff through those links helps support my work, so thank you to everybody who does so. I really appreciate it. Every time you buy a piece of equipment like this, the first you'll see of it is the packaging, and personally I think Asetek generally handles presentation well. You will certainly feel as though you're unveiling something premium. Good packaging is like a good handshake. Bad packaging is like a limp and horrible one. It's not what you're here for, but it helps set the tone. Within the box contents you'll find a whopper of a power brick, 2 outboard switches, which you'll hear more about later, the hefty Invicta Wheelbase itself, and a sticker sheet to stick on the fridge, the toolbox, the dog, whatever feels right. Once released from captivity you can drink it in. This is after all supposed to be a powerful premium wheelbase, so no need to rush it. The Asetek SimSports logo is worn with pride along the casing, and the Invicta signature logo can be found on the front edge like a plaque. In this unpowered inactive state, however, you're only getting half of the visual story. The dormant LED strips running along that casing will come alive later once connected. Mounting the Invicta, as with the La Prima and Forte, is going to require some additional hardware in most cases. Reason being is that Asetek decided to go with non-standard mounting pattern. Asetek's own range of mounts are a bit expensive, but at least they do have a bit of flair to them. The one you see here is for front mounts, an entire front cross member designed to fit aluminium profile rigs. The mount you need depends on the type of rig you've got, so the description for each of them does a good job of explaining how they fit in. Now, however, you do have the option of much cheaper third-party mounting plates, such as this one from GT Omega. It's a very cheap and simple Asetek adapter plate for pre-existing cockpits. So whilst it's annoying that Asetek decided to be a little bit awkward, it ain't exactly a major issue, but it's just a bit annoying to have to spend a little bit more just to mount the thing. Eventually, I'm sure there'll be more adoption of Asetek's mounting pattern into cockpits as they come out of the factory, so that you don't have to go through all of this. Another aspect of Asetek's wheelbases which isn't commonplace are these outboard switches. The Invicta includes both a power switch and a safety stop switch. They look very smart fixed to their front mount, but they introduce a couple of quirks. For one, they're illuminated whether you like it or not, and if you have a carefully curated rig with a set colour scheme, that big bright green power button is going to be a blemish. More importantly though, in my eyes, the power button is required for the wheelbase to operate. There is no power button built into the base itself. If you misplace or break this power button in some way, which is more than possible if you're unfortunate during installation or rig rebuilds, you'll be needing to fix it or get a replacement from Asetek before you can use it again. Given that you have to take these button boxes apart in order to mount them onto this front system, it's okay, but it's a bit like running from the shower to the bedroom without a towel. You'll probably be fine, but one bad slip up and you could be in a pretty terrible situation. One thing I did say in my La Prima review was that mounting the buttons and the wheelbase was pretty much the most annoying part of the whole thing. It gets way better from here. Once your base is all bolted down and plugged in, the next step is to install Asetek software called RaceHub. It's excellent, easy to use software that's both professional and reassuring. Asetek is not a small or new company, and there's nothing ramshackle about RaceHub. It's a proper job. With this, you can adjust quite a few force feedback parameters, LED settings, everything you require to make the most of things, and it's all very slick. This is one area where quality is definitely high and satisfies expectations. And so it comes to driving and using a thing. It's easy to sum it up. It's the cleanest feeling, strongest and most direct force feedback I've had the pleasure of using so far. I've had the fortune now to have used the Fanatec CSL DD, Moser R5, R9 and R12, Fanatec DD1, Fanatec Clusterport DD, Asetek La Prima and now the Invicta, and it's Asetek's force feedback that feels the purest and clearest of them. When something works without a single fracture, blemish or scratch, it almost disappears from the lens of opinion. It's hard to come up with something interesting to say when something's just kinda perfect. It's just a rock solid, high-end wheelbase that should never ever be to blame for anything. Combined with the Invicta pedals, I've achieved an all-time personal iRating record, mainly driving one of the service's toughest cars. I'm not saying that this wouldn't have been possible with a comparably high-end brand like SimCube or VRS, but I am saying that it has happened under the Invicta's watch. It's proven, tried and true. Many solid hardware-focused channels work hard to compare stuff with other brands meticulously down to the finest comparisons. I can't yet do that, and I probably never will. My experience is not as broad, but neither will yours be. You're picking the one base you'll use for a very long time. All that matters to me and to you is whether you'll understand and love what you get here. Throughout my time with it, the Invicta has earned my personal recommendation. This wheelbase works great for me and it should for you. The Invicta is very similar in feel and flavour to the smaller and cheaper La Prima in my opinion. They are part of the same family and DNA after all, but the significantly higher strength of the Invicta is truly invaluable when you're using heavier or larger diameter wheels. The 330mm rim I'm using here didn't feel fully invigorated on the La Prima. Larger diameter wheels need more power from the wheelbase to counteract your extra leverage, but it feels absolutely fully utilised on the Invicta, and this has come to take top spot as my best performing combo so far. I love it. And here's the thing, despite using a 330mm wheel, which is pretty much at the top end in terms of size, despite being in my mid-30s with dad arms, despite being able to split a bundle of breadsticks in half with my bare hands, I haven't felt the need to raise the torque limit of the Invicta to anywhere near its 27Nm cap. I'm actually using it at 18. There's just so much headroom in that kind of power that it wouldn't matter what wheel I was using, what size, what style, I would never find myself short of power. The wheel combo that I currently use weighs 1.7 kg, but let's imagine that I wanted to use a heavier wheel with more gadgetry, mass and therefore inertia. The La Prima and other 12Nm mid-range bases might struggle to power it. The Forte would do it to an excellent degree, and I'm sure that the majority of people would actually be perfectly happy with that. But the Invicta wouldn't even be questioned by it, no matter what. And that's really what you're paying for if you choose the Invicta. You're paying for the removal of all doubts. Choosing the range topper like this, you know it's not going to be the best value for money, pound for pound, but if you want the best. So about its other features, there are LED strips that flank the Invicta wheelbase on all corners. The Forte wheelbase also has them, but the La Prima doesn't. I'll be upfront, I don't really like them. I don't think they're very pretty. I don't think they match the aesthetic of the equipment overall. When you have these LEDs on, the glare from them kind of obscures the wheelbase from view in a way, at least when you're looking at it by eye. A bit like how if a car's coming at you at night with its headlights on, it could be a Vauxhall Corsa, or it could be a Bentley. You just can't tell. Asetek in general presents itself as a company that's taking sim racing seriously and wants to shepherd its customers to do so as well, with uncompromising approaches that focus on their hardcore interpretation of what sim racing equipment is supposed to be. Slapping big fat LED strips on things and providing several crazy multicoloured presets to demonstrate it kind of undermines that message a bit if you ask me, at least in the way it's currently done. However, the day came when those LED strips actually came in handy, for they are not just passive lights, they do have a function. The wheelbase LEDs can, along with the pedals and wheel, flash to indicate certain things like ABS activation, flags, other things like that. This is done through the RaceHub software itself, not through the third-party favourite SimHub. In this wet race, in an ABS-equipped GT4, it was the Invicta Wheelbase's LED strips that made a real difference to the information I had to hand. The wheel's LEDs were too close and subtle for me to easily notice, but the wheelbase was in the perfect focal length and brightness to easily help me tell when I was straying into the car's ABS. I used that info to tread lightly across the raining track and win that race, and without those LEDs I don't think I could have done that so well. Up to this point I had dismissed these LEDs as just kind of a gimmick, spectator entertainment value for people standing outside of a rig and not of really any value to the driver in it, but I was proven wrong that day. I'm still not the biggest fan of them, and I mean, if you think I'm making a mountain out of a molehill here, then I actually agree. They're just lights, but this is a review. I'm supposed to lay out my opinions for you, laid bare, so that you can chip in with your own in the comments. A rather quiet and underrated feature is the USB-C dock integrated to the rear of a wheelbase. If you have lots of USB-C gadgets on your rig, then this can be quite handy because this is not just a pass-through for Asetek equipment only, it's a full USB hub. The quick release system that Asetek uses across their range of wheelbases is really nice. Quick and easy to use system, just not necessarily idiot proof. I crumpled the quick release adapter on the La Prima wheelbase when I had nothing attached to it, just by being a bit clumsy when I was trying to mount it. So do be careful. It's a clever system, but it is fragile. Just pay extra attention when those pins on the wheelbase QR are exposed. But once hooked in, it's a dream. It's quick, easy and super solid. I've never felt even a whiff of free play or lash whatsoever. Top marks for the quality of a connection between wheel and base. By choosing an Invicta, you get to use Asetek's own first-party line of wheels natively. Asetek's wheels are slightly more expensive than Fanatek's, but definitely a better quality. I'd personally describe Asetek's steering wheels as much better to use than to look at. At least that's true of the current Formula and Button Box lineup, but things can change. But great to use they are. They are packed with functions, nicely sized, and are generally quite strong value for each pound spent in my eyes. As mentioned earlier, this is the Forte Button Box with the Open D suede rim. This combination costs around about £430, and it has become my firm favourite of all the Asetek combinations that I've tried so far. Now, of course, you don't have to stay on the Asetek reservation. You can use third-party wheels with this stuff. You'll just need a quick release adapter to do so. What I've got here is the Invicta quick release, which is super duper clever. It's got a little USB socket pass-through just here. So you can essentially make wired wheels technically wire-free because the wire can be coiled around the Invicta quick release adapter. So super duper simple and clever. This is a really, really good third-party quick release system. The Invicta quick release is the one that has this USB pass-through, but there is a cheaper version coming that doesn't have this USB pass-through. It's not yet available at the time of recording, but it's coming, so by the time you watch this, it may well be for sale. Point being that although Asetek has an ecosystem, you're free to mix and match, and you shouldn't find yourself regretting going down this path in this regard. Wheelbases are admittedly pretty difficult to review right now, especially high-end ones, because they all do their job so well. It's basically a case of shrugging your shoulders and saying, it's excellent, what more can I say? One day, wheelbases might do more than just turn a wheel. You can see creativity poking through with the LEDs on the side, and maybe that's just the start. I do certainly hope so. The thing that sets Asetek apart right now is the fact that they've bundleized their product range. You can get a high-end wheelbase, wheel and pedals all from the same name. That's actually quite strong from a simplicity point of view. And on their official site at least, with their little configuration builder, if you do buy a wheel, pedals and wheelbase all at the same time, it usually comes with a discount. It's powerful, premium sim racing equipment, but paired, packaged and presented as one. The Invicta's been a great wheelbase with flawless delivery, and it helps that the pedals and wheels have also been superb. So if your eye has landed on Asetek and the Invicta base is going to be at the centre, I think you'll be very happy with what you get based on my experience. And that's it. I do hope this was entertaining and informative. Remember to check the video description for all kinds of information about what you've seen, the equipment featured, discount codes and places to buy, and obviously thank you if you use those links to purchase anything through them. That helps support me to no end. And leave a like and subscribe if you're feeling generous, and thank you very much for watching. Cheers again.